Good morning, class. This is Mrs. Matos. Give me a wave. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. So today we're going to have our first writing lesson. Okay, our first writing lesson, it's lesson number 128. Okay, 128. We have a title. So I need you to be ready with the paper, pencil, and eraser. If you would like to pause the video, you can, and then come back and finish your lesson. Okay, because I need to give you some information about kites, like we've done in class. So our subject or our title is kites. Okay, and I'm going to read some information to you, so just listen to what I'm going to tell you, and then you're going to have to write your own short story about kites. Okay, whatever you want. All right, so let's go over some details or facts about kites. All right, so many people like to fly kites for fun. A long time ago, kites were used for many other things. Benjamin Franklin used kites to learn more about weather. Orville and Wilbur Wright studied kites while they were learning how to build airplanes. Kites can even be used for fishing. Okay, so that's just some information about kites. We need to talk about a few things today. So we need to focus on a few questions. I have some questions written down, but we need to start learning, or when you're writing a story, we need to think about, I'm going to go on this side around so I can show you what I'm going to talk about right now. When we are talking about sentences, we need to start, when we're writing a story, you need to think about who, all right? Who, everybody echo me, who. We need to talk about what, when, why, and how. Okay, we will come back to these sentences in a quick moment, okay, guys? So who, what, when, why, and how. Sorry, who, what, when, where, why, and how. So we always have to think about also where. So where did you go fly your kite, for example? Okay, so the first sentence that I have here, class, says, who will be with you when you fly your kite? It is totally your story. It's up to you who you want to go with to fly this kite. Remember, this is just pretend, but we need to make sure that whoever's reading your story understands that your story is descriptive, meaning that you're able to tell us the things that you see, or describe the colors of the outside. Like if you're outside, you need to talk about who you're going with, whether it be your mom, dad, your best friend. So you need to be specific about all of these questions. So who will be with you when you fly your kite? For me, I'm going to just put class, because I'm pretending that you guys are going to go with me to a park as in a field trip. Pretend, and you guys are going to go with me to fly my kite. So down here, I will just put the word class. But we're going to talk about how you need to do your paper or write your story, okay? So I'm going to move over here. So who will be with me? I'm going to put class. So we're just going to put class. All right. The next question is asking, what does your kite look like? So we need to think about describing the colors, the texture, how it feels. So if your kite, the size is a good idea. So if you're thinking about your kite, let's just say my kite is going to be 4 colors. Okay, 4 colors. And my kite is going to be red, black, white, and mint green, for example. So that's what I need to tell the person listening or reading my story. Okay, so that we can literally close our eyes and whoever's listening to what we're reading can actually see it or visualize what you're telling us. Okay, so for me, what does your kite look like? So mine is going to have 4 different colors. So I'm going to write them in here. I'm going to put red. When we're adding a series of words, we need to make sure that we're adding a comma. Okay, guys, because we have to pause. Red, black, white, and mint green. Okay, just a reminder. These words that I'm writing here, are they a complete sentence? No, they're not. So what I just wrote is just a few colors about my kite, but it's not a complete sentence at all. All right, when will you fly it? So for me, I'm going to fly it. I'm going with you guys, so I'm going with my class. My kite is red, black, white, mint green. And another thing that we can talk about when we're talking about the description is maybe the size. So mine, I'm going to say it's a large kite. Mine is big. So I just put the word large. Also, I'll put it here just so you guys have an idea. It's not a sentence at all. It's just words, okay? When will you fly it? I will fly it when we go to the park. So we can say where we are at, right? We're at the park, or we can also say when we go outside. So at the park, I'll just put park. And then I'll also put outside. These are just some words that you can start also writing down just to have ideas as to how to spell things. Why will it fly? Okay, why will it fly? So in one of our science lessons, we talked about kites. We learned about kites, and we talked about how the wind is the one that causes for kites to move. So if you guys, maybe you do know, we've talked about kites, so I think you should know what they are. If you don't know what they are, it looks like this. I have a picture here. So it's like this. Of course, you can find some really fun ones that have like strings or like different things that are attached to them or different shapes. So they're really cool. But the point is that they have a long string that you're pulling, and as you actually start walking fast, or you may run. And then as you do that, because of these sticks that it has, the way that the kites are made, and because of the fabric used and everything else, the materials, the way it's made, the string, and then the wind that's blowing, it's what helps for that kite to stay up, 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 and it just keeps on going. As you're running, it keeps on going all the way high, 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 high in the sky. So kites are really cool. So the wind is what causes them to move. All right. So why will it fly? And I'm just going to write the word wind. So you guys know what that means. So you're going to have to fix all this in your own story so that me as your teacher or whoever's reading your story, your mom and dad or your babysitter or whatever, is able to understand what you're saying and your story fully, okay? So why will it fly? I'm just going to put wind. The last question that we have here is, how will you fly it? How will we fly it? Think about it. So we are going to fly it by, I'm going to say for me, I'm going to go ahead and start running. As I'm running, then the kite will start to just floating up and just rising high, and then the wind will help it just stay up there and move. Okay, so I'm just going to say run. Okay, so I'm going to go on this side now. Follow me. Okay, I'm going to read the kite information once again so that you're able to have more facts about kites and so that you're able to write your own story. Remember, class, when you're writing a story, you need to make sure that you have at least 5 or 6 sentences. If you have more, that's even better, right? So the first thing that we're going to do for this assignment is we're going to think about answering these questions on your own. Now, we've talked about when you are answering a question, you need to make sure that you're paraphrasing. What does that mean? It means, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, for number 1, who will be with you when you fly your kite? The way that I would have to answer this is, my class will be with me when I fly my kite, period. The beginning of my sentence has to be capitalized. The end has a period. Remember, class, we've talked about sentences. Make sure that your sentences are complete. It has to make sense. It has to be a complete thought. And make sure to put your period at the end. The other thing to remember, class, is we've talked about sequencing. When we talk about sequencing, that means that when you're writing a story, you have to introduce your story to the reader. Okay? So, the way that I want to start my story is, so we're going to have to give it first a title. The title that I'm going to give my story is, I Love My Kite. So that's going to be my title of my story. If you want to use that title, that's totally fine. If you want to just call your kite by a name, you can actually write your title of your story by that name. For example, My Red Kite. And then you underline and then you start your story. So going back to what I was saying about sequencing is we have to start talking about things that happened in your story from the first thing that happened, which has to be your introduction, right? And then the very last thing that happened at the end, okay? If we look at this now, in the beginning, I need to have an introduction. So Mrs.Matos needs to have an introduction. So I'm going to put my title that I'm going to use, that you may steal from me if you want, and that is, I Love My Kite, is what I'm going to title it. Again, if you would like to change your title, you may do so. This is 100% your story, so you can do whatever you want, okay? You can be creative. So my story's name is going to be I Love My Kite. That's my title of my story. If you guys want to write another title, you can do that by naming your kite or describing it or just calling it by the color that it is. Like, for example, My Red Kite. My Red Kite. Okay? So go ahead and start thinking about the title that you would like to use. Then we have to talk about your introduction. So I'm going to write these things down for you, class. So you need to make sure that you have your, you need to make sure that you have your title. Okay. You need to make sure that you also you start answering your questions of who, what, when, where. So let me write that down. So actually, I'm sorry, let me go back. You're going to have your title. You need to have your introduction. So you have to have your title. You need to have your introduction. Title, I love my kite. The way that I would begin my introduction is by saying, this morning I went to the park with my class. Okay, I would just start it that way. We're talking about the beginning of the day, so that's already in the correct order. Okay, so we can just say, I love my kite. This morning, I went, let's just change it a little bit. This morning, I went to the park with my class. See, you guys are, I'm always thinking about you guys. With my class to fly my kite. Now, you guys do not have to copy this. So you're writing your own sentences, your own story, okay? And we need to answer the questions that I talked about earlier today. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. So who will be with you when you fly your kite? So who? Okay, what does your kite look like? Make sure you're describing the color, the shape, the style, the texture, how it feels, right? Whatever you want to use, or whatever, however you want to describe it, and so that we know what it looks like, okay? And then when will you fly it? We talked about that earlier, right? An example is in the morning, like I have it this morning, right? So you can talk about if you're flying yours in the morning, in the afternoon, on a hot day, or on a cold day. So you need to decide as the author of this story what weather you're going to be flying this kite in. And then why will it fly? Think about it. Why will it fly? Are you going to be running fast? Are you going to be jogging, running a little, or are you going to be just speed walking, you know? So think about all of those things, okay? And then how will you fly it? Okay, your string, and as I described earlier today. So kites are attached to a string. Many kites have tails. So they have a little tail in the bottom. And air lifts it high into the sky. So you can include that in your story. The air, for example, sorry, I'm thinking. The air lifted my kite high up the sky, period. Perfect. All right. Okay, so once again, make sure that you have a title. Your kite, whatever it is that you want to call it, introduction, which tells the reader or the listener the correct, what we're going to talk about, right? so that people know what the story is going to be about. And I gave you these examples here. And then you're going to answer the questions that we talked about. So again, at least 6 sentences, 5 or 6, or if you want to do a few more, you may do so. So I really look forward to hearing about your stories. I'm going to see if maybe we can probably do a Zoom meeting for our next writing session so that I can read your sentences, okay? Let's see how this goes. So go ahead and complete your assignment. When you're done, you may go ahead and draw your kite, okay? You may draw a nice picture and color it. And then remember, class, in the back of your paper, your drawing has to be related to the story. Okay, so for example, if your story is about, my story is about me going to the park with you guys and flying my kite on a hot sunny day, should I be drawing a rainbow? No. Should I be drawing bunnies because I like bunnies? No. You should be drawing your picture according to your story. Okay, so for me, my picture should have all of you guys we're all going to the park, right? On a sunny day. I'll do it real quick just for fun, right? So we're at the park. It is a sunny day. But even though it is sunny, there's a little bit of a wind that is going to help my kite fly. All right? So this is me. And I'm smiling. Have a little bow on. And then this is all of you guys, all 23 of you. So that's all of you guys. Okay, you guys understand what I mean. And then I have my little kite, right? It kind of looks like a triangle there. Actually, like a diamond. We've talked about shapes. So if you guys actually do your diamond shape, you can have your own kite. Super duper easy. And then you want to cut it like this way and then across the way. And then some of them have a little tail, like our lesson was saying. So you can do that, and then you can color it really nice and neat. So this is what my story would look like, right? Okay. All right, guys. So I'm so excited to hear about your beautiful stories. Please don't mind my drawing. It's really quick. But thank you so much for watching me again. Make sure to have fun with your stories. It shouldn't be something that you're like scared to do. We've done it in class. This is going to be your first draft of your story. That means that it's okay if it's still kind of like wonky, it has some mistakes. It's okay. We're going to go over it together. This is your first draft of it. Very, very generic, or it can have mistakes. That's totally fine. We're going to work together to make it beautiful and perfect. And then we'll have our first draft, and then second, and then our final perfect, beautiful draft. Okay. So I know you guys are going to do awesome. So I'm excited to read your stories or how you're going to do. And I hope you enjoy it, make it fun, and thank you for watching me. Bye, guys. Take care. I miss you guys. All right. Bye.